Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And with this one, I bring to you the perfect spec. If you're looking for a spec that is going to get you invited into groups quite rapidly, if you're looking for a spec to really push your skill cap, if you're looking for a spec that is capable of climbing to the tops of ladders and winning tournaments, then this is the spec that you need to be playing. This is the spec that I talked about at the start of the expansion, but then the expansion became a little bit more alt unfriendly, but now it's not. And I've come back to it, and I've realized what I missed out on having left it earlier on in Season 2 of Shadowlands, and that is the Disciplined Priest. So why I say this is the spec that you need to pick up, because it's going to get you groups? Well, you're a healer. Why is it the most fun spec? Well, you still get to do damage. You still get to focus on pumping out a lot of damage on this specialization, and you will have a very high skill ceiling to look forward to pushing up to, which means that you're likely to not get bored immediately on this specialization. You have powerful compositions in the 2v2 and 3v3 bracket to be able to push to the top competitive levels. You're a decent 1v1er, honestly, as well. So if you want to tilt some DPS specs, you can bring some 1v1 into world PvP as well. It's just a really well-rounded spec at the moment. Definitely on the high end for the competitive element as well. And as a good failsafe, you could still always fall back on old reliable, the rogue mage priest composition, which is a great comp right now and super fun to play. You definitely need to make a disciplined priest. Like I need to be spending more of my time gearing up this specialization as well. I've spent a lot of time on my hunter, but playing the priest is going to be able to get me a lot more groups, as well as be a ton of fun. And some of the fun elements of this healer is that it does damage to heals. So your main priority is going to be using powered shields on your ally. This is going to give them Atonement, which makes all of your damage turn into healing on those targets. And we can see that Atonement right here on the raid bar. As long as that's up, it means any damage I do is going to heal that target as well. And you can see me and the other priest just going at each other. The hunter comes out of stealth. I've got dots on multiple targets. I'm almost like a boomkin in that sense. And now the enemy team is going to go for crowd control. My team's going to try and look to disrupt that as much as possible. But if this freezing trap lands, Trinket's going to be necessary because Mind Games connected. Mind Games is a really big threat. You also have the nice option of a bunch of different play styles as a Disciplined Priest. You want to play aggro? Go Ventir. You want to play more mana efficient, cooldown oriented, then go Night Fae. If you want to play survivability, go Necrolord. If you want to play Mimi one-shot Kyrian blasting stuff, you can go Kyrian. So you have a lot of flexibility as well. Some of the struggle points here for the Disc Priest are recovering from massive damage like this, especially if you're not running the instant radiance, but you can opt to run in instant radiance and conduits for it, which are going to make this really good for new player friendly healers. If you've never played one, definitely recommend running the instant radiance. But look at this pressure. Just in a bash, we get the hunter down to 10%. I felt like I was contributing to the kill. I get aggressive. I get to push in on top of the enemy healer, go for a fear. I have the option to just kind of sit back and chunk out as much damage as I can as well. So you have a nice variance of playstyle. You're not just pigeonholed into only one type of playstyle. You can play aggro and you can play defense and focus on mana regeneration, which is another reason why I think that this spec is so much fun to play at the moment. Here in this position, we get a Cyclone on the Hunter at low health, so the Priest is struggling to try and recover. This is resetting our diminishing returns, giving us a chance to get more crowd control on the Priest before going for the kill onto the Hunter. But we can just switch some damage over to the Priest in the meantime while we aren't able to attack them, and we're really just waiting for that next crowd control chain. However, we're getting pressured, so we can use our Life Grip. Super fun ability. You can also troll your allies a lot. I've seen tons of times where you can grip somebody and they end up walking off a cliff, so if you want a Mimi spec as well, definitely going to have the option. Look at my powered barrier, barely keeping my Feral Druid alive, 1% health. Like, if you want intensity on a specialization, you got to play a Disciplined Priest, right? Druid, sometimes you're going to feel really safe. You might be like, oh, I could take a nap. My hots are going to do all the work for me. You play Disciplined Priest, look at this pressure. Look at the pressure cooker right now. Like, I'm trying to pick up this Feral Druid that's been sub 30% health for the better part of 10 seconds straight at this point. You're going to have a lot of pressure and a lot of intensity to this healer, which is what I really like. If you're kind of faint of heart and you don't want that intensity, maybe you want to avoid the Disciplined Priest. But if you're playing some competitive high-end PvP, I don't know why you wouldn't want intensity. I feel like that's kind of the main reason that you ended up coming into the bracket in the first place. So you're definitely going to want to pick up a Disciplined Priest. And like I said, right now they're very competitive and you have a ton of options. You can do a decent job of catching up. Like this Priest, I just plugged out from season 1 and I already got up to above 245 item level, all the 200 conduits. I'm still using Sephuz. Like you can get away with, if you don't want to do too much grinding, with just running Sephuz. As Discipline Priest, get a lower item level version of it. If you don't want to farm gold, it's going to be fine. I was still able to get pretty high here. I think we were playing at 2300 MMR, so it wasn't the end of the world. But then if you really do want to go for the all-in and get some gems and sockets, like stuff like that, you can do the Rift farm as well once you feel like you really want to dedicate yourself to this specialization. But I would definitely have to recommend it, especially because it seems like the most difficult part of the game is finding a group, right? And then the second most difficult part is finding a group on something that you like to play. And who doesn't like to pump out numbers, right? And do damage. So it can be a bit of a sacrifice to switch from a DPS to a healer. But with this switch, you don't really feel that sacrifice nearly as much. Because it does so much damage. Like, look at me just pumping out all these yellow laser beams over at the Hunter. I've got Shadow Word Death for big KOs. I've got Shadow Word Death to avoid crowd control. There's so much versatility in the specialization. I've said this since the start of the expansion. Like I said, I forgot about it because we weren't really able to play alts for a long time. But now that you are, really recommend picking this up, especially moving into the next patch as well. If you want to get prepared for it so that you can make sure you've got a lot of teams set up for yourself, then it's going to be a specialization that will do that for you. It's going to set you up for success, and it's going to get you groups. Look at the pressure right now. They're struggling now at 10%. When there's Disc Priest in the game, like, you know that match is going to be a lot of fun and super intense. We're just hovering this Hunter at 10%. We get a full fear out of the crowd control chain. We go in for the penance. We've got Shadow Word Death. We've got massive damage coming in, and we're going to be able to score the kill. It's just, there's really no other way to say it. Like, Disc Priest makes the game fun. And if you haven't made one at this point, especially considering how competitive they are and the flexibility that they have, I really think that you do need to check them out. We can even scroll back and try and find some other games as well. I wonder if there's any games here I have that went like really fast in our favor here with the Warrior, because against the Warrior team, because sometimes you can just play super aggro and get a ton of pressure. And the Warrior teams can usually be a bit of a struggle. I think it was this game. So we'll jump a little bit forward into it. Maybe that's too far forward into it. Okay, my VOD does not want me jumping around too much. So what you may struggle with is getting attacked by warriors or warrior teams in general, because they can disrupt a lot of the crowd control on your teams. They can do a lot of pressure to you. But at the same time, you can also turn the tables and kind of just zerg down the other team. I've noticed that just going out for more aggression usually ends up working out better. So their shaman runs in because they want to run at me. I'm just going to get all of my damage rolling immediately. Like, this is the first global Shadow Fiend power infusion on my Feral. And I'm just dumping out mind games, trying to fake interrupts, trying to fake groundings, trying to get as much pressure onto the shaman and push them away before they get on top of me. And then while they're just walking to me, they're already down at half health. We got mind games up, so he's got to take a global to dispel. We can fear that global as well, and then just absolutely crack through with a ton of damage. So we were able to completely just turn this around before they could even get the Zug onto me. Sometimes you won't be able to, but you can utilize mind control. This is a tool that I don't see a lot of discipline priests using, but they definitely need to. Whenever you're getting attacked and you're getting Zugged, mind control is a great tool to just get the warrior off of you, put them into really bad positions, and then escape with your Door of Shadows or with your Soul Shape and your Night Fade Blink. So if you haven't considered, or if you're worried about picking it up because you're going to get tunneled down, that's generally the weak point for the Discipline Priest. There are strategies and things that you can practice to improve and to alleviate that threat that is done to you. And then once you're really comfortable with the Discipline Priest, then you are going to absolutely be on a rampage. You're going to be tearing up all of the teams. Everybody's going to want you, because a really good, aggressive Discipline Priest that can maintain their mana is probably the most fun healer to play with at the moment, in my mind. At least that's when I'm having the most fun, especially when I'm playing it. So I would definitely recommend picking up the Discipline Priest. You also have some good fallbacks if Discipline Priest isn't working out for you. You've got Holy Priest, which is also a phenomenal healer, and you've got Shadow Priest if you still want to get that itch with doing damage. And a lot of the conduits and a lot of the legendaries actually overlap with the specs, so you can avoid some grinding as well if you want to just completely switch out of it. You're not going to be locked into it. That is definitely another pro of picking this specialization or picking this class at the moment in Shadowlands if you've been struggling, because I can see a ton of players just picking up a bunch of different alts, trying to figure out where they want to go, where they want to land. So I just wanted to give my opinion here on the Discipline Priest. Would be my number one recommended spec right now for the game as a whole, because you have those fallbacks. It's competitive. You don't give up all of those elements of wanting to do damage if you're still someone that likes to do damage, while still being able to get the privilege of being the healer and being able to find your groups a lot easier. So to me, it seems like all pros and not very many cons. The cons that it does come with practice, you'll be able to alleviate them a lot. Other than that, if you liked the video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I do my best to update with patch changes that come to the game. So if you're interested in knowing what's going on, if there's any shifts in the game that might intrigue your interest in the future and make you switch classes or stuff like that, those patch videos come up as soon as those patch notes are available. So definitely make sure that you stay subscribed so you can stay up to date on everything World of Warcraft. And I do my best to upload some guides as well, intermingled with some tier lists to enhance your experience the most with World of Warcraft. That is the goal of the channel, to be a resource to enhance your experience. And other than that, if you'd like to watch me live, twitch.tv/Supatease. We're streaming every day at 11 a.m. PST, and we are often doing viewer games. So if you want to grind some rating or you want to grind some honor, I've helped push now over 60 people to their desired ratings, or you just want to hang out, you want to have some fun, that is going to be the place to be. Other than that, thank you very much for watching the video. I will see you in the next one.